Do-Rag Wisdom here, ladies and gentlemen and friends, and welcome to Impeachment Day, Y2k19.12.18. I seem to recall, because I'm able to recall things that happened in history because of reading my Bible 1984 many times, that totalitarians try to use doublethink. They want to revise history. They want to use all kinds of newspeak, political language. Everything designed to confuse, oppress, destroy us, and the only lives that we have. So thanks to my reading of this novel and just trying to be a thinking person in general, I seem to recall that when President Obama was in office, the teabaggers at that time, because now they're Trumpists, because the teabaggers were taking over the Republican Party. They started to hold it hostage. I seem to recall Mitch McConnell saying that Obama's going to be a one-term president, and he's going to block everything. Him and his Republicans are going to block everything. I mean, the first 2 years of the Obama presidency, he had some power, which the Democrats squandered. And then that midterm came and the Republicans took over the House and later the Senate. Mitch McConnell's dream came true. Not in getting President Obama out of office, making him a one-term president. That never happened. American people are more intelligent than these GOPs think we are. These so-called GOPs, these Trumpists think that we are. See, I even make the same mistake calling what's in there now Republican, when they're really something else, something horrific to our way of life. I remember that in spite of the fact that Obama got his second term, McConnell had much of what his agenda passed through. After all, he had the help of Citizens United, with the help of the right-wing Supreme Court. He had the help of voter suppression, and of course the Supreme Court, again the right-wing Supreme Court, gutting the Voting Rights Act, so to speak. Significant parts of it. Gerrymandering. Everything that this totalitarian teabagger, now Trumpist party wants, Mitch McConnell allowed. And finally, of course, the Supreme Court. And remember what happened with that. It was about like the final year, before a president, there could be a change, where McConnell decided to make a new law that a president can't make a pick, because after Anton Scalia dropped, it was up now to President Obama to make a Supreme Court choice, and his choice was a centrist, Merrick Garland, and Mitch McConnell didn't allow it. Not at all. A new law that he made up himself. So we got, instead, what Trump wanted, what he wanted, what the Koch brothers want, what the religious extremists want. So I seem to remember that they were persecuting President Obama every way that they could, trying to humiliate him. This creep, this traitor, this Putin president was making up this birther crap. Remember? See, I remember all this stuff. So when they come back now and say that the Democratic Party is persecuting him, making him the most persecuted president there ever was, will be, compare what he's going through the Salem witchcraft trials, as if he would know anything about that injustice. Was it 19, 20 people were mercilessly murdered? Because somebody, this was the due process. Somebody had a dream about somebody, and that made so-and-so a witch, so that person had to hang. What kind of due process? Did Trump give all the people he cheated due process? This bullying creep? So I seem to remember, and I see what's going on now. And today they're debating the impeachment rules, and by the end of the day, hopefully they're going to come up with the final verdict, of course, in the House, to impeach this traitorous, dangerous creep out of our lives so we can rebuild our country and rebuild both parties again. A liberal party, progressive party, a conservative party. Not a wishy-washy, everywhere which party versus an extremist Nazi party. We got to heal our country and heal our planet and reteach the youth of our country that it's not okay to make fun of people, to try to sell our country out, and of course to try and eliminate our voting rights. See, that's a theme throughout the Trumpist teabagger story. To relieve all of us of our right to vote and to put a king inside of our government. I've learned through my readings of 1984 and just living life and just appreciating the kind of country we have. Here I am. You can stand up to the government. There are flaws. We do have creeps trying to take over our way of lives, these corporations, these Koch brothers, these right-wing religious extremists, Putin. And we gotta just, all of us have to sit down, relax, read, and think about what's going on right now. The last thing I want to see is an elimination of the two-party system we have. In fact, I wish we had a multi-party system. I know what's been done in the past by the very people that are accusing everybody of covering up, not bringing witnesses. It's a sham. It's a show. It's been a show, all right, since this Nazi Trump has been in office. This reality show maggot has been in office. That's the reality that we're living with now. And we're on the verge of losing our country. One of the arguments that these Trumpists say is that the Democratic Party has been trying to impeach since day one, since he first got in. I've got to admit, I've wanted that creep Nazi Trump impeached from day one. I saw before he was elected the kind of creep he was. Mexicans are rapists, grabbing them by the pussy, all that crap, locker room stuff. I knew that. I knew from what he was doing in New York City, what he was doing with people that work for him, cheating people, chiseling people, trying to get black people lynched, the Central Park Five. Remember that one? This has always been a destructive force in our lives. There's this book by Amy Siskin, I don't forget this one, and it's a comprehensive look at every day or of an entire first year of the Trump presidency. And it's called The List. Amy Siskind. S-I-S-K-I-N-D. I've underlined much throughout what I've read, and there's still much more to go. Oh, there's policy stuff of his I'll disagree with from here till doomsday. Again, you got to vote him out for that, but I didn't vote him in the first place. But then there's stuff in here that's obviously impeached stuff that you should impeach him. I mean, from day one, he lied about his business stuff. Doesn't want to reveal his taxes. What's that about? What's he hiding? What's wrong with us? Are we a bunch of rubes that could be easily conned by these Trumpist totalitarians? The List. You want to see from day one? You want to see from day one why this guy should have never been our president in the first place? Check out Amy Siskin. She goes to the first year. I hope she comes out with sequels. And don't forget. And remember what life was like before this creep came into our lives. What our relationship was with the world, with the climate, with each other. Not that it was that great, but we were working on it. Think about it. How it was when you were growing up. I'm older than some of you. And I know this country has never been a perfect place. But anywhere human beings live and work, they're gonna come into conflict. They're gonna have prejudices to hatreds. And if we want to go from being naked apes to a more refined being, we gotta stop with this authoritarian fetish. That's what it is. The last thing I want is some freaking strong man, or woman for that matter, controlling how I think, breathe. And that goes for religion and for the clergy and for everyone else of these totalitarian maggots. And if you're watching these hearings, everything that's coming out of the Trumpist mouths is doublethink and revision of history, closed hearings, not being allowed. They forgot about their closed hearings on Benghazi, that their party, their Trumpist teabagger party, was making up the rules at that time. They were in control. This is a group of traitors, racist creeps, all right, who can dish it out but can't take it. This is one of the most important events we're having in the history of our country. I want to see it live before Hollywood gets a hold of it and puts the wrong people playing the wrong parts. But in the end, if this guy wins, if this dictator, evil, pathologically sick creep is allowed to skate, which I know he will be allowed in the Trumpist Senate, the Trumpist treasonous Senate, it's been infected like Santa Mira, an invasion of the body snatchers. You, I, me, whatever, all of us, we're going to have to make plans to protect ourselves and the next election from the onslaught of this enemy, this Trumpin' stupid enemy to our democratic republic.